Hi, hello, my guys, gays, and purest of rays. Happy New Year, holidays. I don't know. Depends on when I finish this. I'm writing the script in late November, and as of recording, I'm planning to finish this in like 3 days. We'll see how that goes. This year happened. Lots of things happened, but it also feels like nothing happened. You know, like, I mean that in reference to like world events and stuff, but also me personally. But something that did happen were movies and TV shows. Oh boy, did they happen. In that respect, this year was pretty freaking good. So much of what I consider to be the best of both media types came out this year. And so, as we close out this year and welcome the new one, I want to make an unorganized look back at some of the best things I consumed this year. So welcome one and all to my personal best of 2021.
Check it. Hey, people!
Disclaimers, spoilers for... Also just realized that kind of spoiled the video, like, I just told you all the things I'm going to talk about, but I guess the point of it is, like, the things I'm gonna say about them. Also, I'll give individual spoiler warnings when in the actual review part of each show, because not everything I'll say is spoilers. Also, these aren't in any specific order. This isn't, like, Watch Mojo or something. Okay, let's go! Starting off with Disney Channel's original animated series about frogs that started in 2019, Amphibia, created by biracial Thai-American animator Matt Braley, I don't know. I hope it's Braley, because that's what my brain said. I jumped into Amphibia earlier this year when season 2 was airing, after it being on my watch list for months. I mainly got interested in it from seeing clips on YouTube, namely the ones about Sasha from the season 1 finale and the General Yunnan episode. I could tell from the small bits of the show I had seen that the show had complex, multifaceted, and lovable characters, a cool art style, and really well done and cool world building. And okay, like, I say that, but even still, the show absolutely blew away all the expectations I had for it. I'm gonna get kind into light spoilers and like kind of vague spoilers, but still spoilers nonetheless. So if you haven't seen the show, just skip this whole part, even if you don't know what I'm talking about. I cannot stress enough how much you should just watch this show. And slowly figuring it out is, like, one of the most fun parts about it. So, just, like skip to the time card, okay? Amphibia is such a special and unique show. One of my favorite facets of the show is how personal the world building is. All the information we get about the hierarchy system, the lore of the box, and everything else in the world is exposed naturally with the characters and their personal journeys and motives at the forefront. And God, what a world! Everything about Amphibia is so beautiful, creative, and designed with such clear and gorgeous intention. A little detail about the backgrounds I absolutely adore is some of the names of stores in this, like, in Newtopia are these really creative parodies of real stores, and some are just like the regular store but with frog in the title. This also happened in the Gravity Falls episode, Mr. Ponds and Frog Suits. The other thing I really appreciate about this show is the build-up and payoff of specifically the Calamity Box trio and their characterization. All of the small moments of Anne bonding and building connections, as well as making critical mistakes leading to great lines and events, like everything at Toad Tower and the charging at the Second Temple, and of course the True Colors scene. Then with Marcy showing how much they treat Amphibia like an RPG in this line in the first temple episode.
But be careful. When you get this into something, you tend to tune everything else out.
And just little things Marcy says and how that perfectly sets up the reveal we get in True Colors. And in Sasha's case, when Anne describes the music box incident,
if a friend likes a pencil case, you get it for them. If your friend likes your new shoes, you give them to her. And if a friend wants you to steal a crazy music box from a thrift store, even if you really don't want to, you do it, okay? Because if you don't, they might not want to be your friend anymore.
And how she describes leadership to Grime.
Get them to love you, and they'll do anything for you. Oh, it works all right. Trust me.
Just sets up her arc from the finale of season 1 all the way till True Colors perfectly. Other things about the show I adore. Yunnan. King Andreas. I know. He's just fun. I don't think he's good. I do not condone his actions. Very not good. But he's just fun. I'm sorry. Literally all of the Wartward frogs. The found family vibes. And like the planters as a dynamic and as separate characters as well. And how complicated and fully realized most of the main characters are. They all feel so human. Even the frogs and toads and meats. Well, except Andreas, he doesn't feel human. Kind of feels like a jerk. Season 3 isn't fully out, and I'm not even fully caught up with it, but it's good. I don't have that much to say about this movie, so let's just kind of speed through. I know Simu Liu from Kim's Convenience, which honestly kind of confused me, because he's Korean in that show, but he's actually Chinese IRL, and plays a Chinese person in this movie. But anyway, this movie doesn't feel like a Marvel movie at all, and I kind of love that about it. Though I will say a problem I'm starting to have with the MCU is there's just way too much lore at this point. Jung, his sister, and Aquafina were great, lovable main characters. The slow unraveling of the story, the lore, and Shang-Chi's backstory were really well done. I love these fight scenes, and I also love what the different styles of martial arts signify in each character and how they use it. If you want to hear a more in-depth breakdown of those things, and also more information about the influences and representations of Chinese culture in this movie, I highly recommend Jiran J. Zhao's video and just their whole channel in general, and also buy their book. Okay. The Suicide Squad is one of my favorite movies ever. I loved this movie so much. It's so good. I'm not going to compare it to the first DCEU Suicide Squad movie, but I will compare it to Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, because A, I feel like this movie took a lot of the great parts of that movie and built upon them, but also B, I will take any opportunity I can to praise Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, because it does not get the accolades it deserves. First of all, nonlinear storytelling is utilized perfectly in this film. The time jumps and backtracking all help to either build the characters, their motivations and personalities, show how expendable each of the characters are, or make us feel more connected, just like Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn did. Secondly, R rating. I know, rating superhero movies PG-13 and lower, or higher, I don't know how it works, is helpful for selling tickets and toys, but come on! The action in Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, and especially this movie, were so much more engaging, and something about how graphic the violence is and how much swearing there is adds a dimension of realism and grounds the story in a way I don't even know what I mean, but it kind of sounds like it makes sense, so we're rolling with it. Last thing I want to compare about this movie and Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, and then I'll get to the standalone qualities, is, of course, Harley Quinn. Little fact about me that you should know if you follow me on Instagram, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, you should. But I really love Harley Quinn. Wasn't always this way. In fact, my first introduction to Harley was Suicide Squad, which is a horrible character who I hate. And I plan to make a video at some point. Margot Robbie is the perfect Harley Quinn. I think it's a humongous order for this movie to follow up Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation. I think it's a humongous order for this movie to follow up Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation and One Harley Quinn, because of how fully realized and leveled Harley's writing and appearance and how everything about her was in Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. And while I don't think she's as almost perfect as Birds of Prey and I made this choice. I thought it would be funny if I said it full every single time. When I thought of that joke, I guess I must have forgotten that I cannot speak. And while I don't think she's as almost perfect as Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn Harley is, James Gunn's Suicide Squad Harley absolutely follow the momentum of the writing in Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Harley is charming, has a very Harley side story, and is genuinely hilarious like the whole movie. And oh my god, the escape scene. Some people have said this scene lacks tension because of, well, how little tension there is, which I agree with. Of course they aren't going to kill Harley Quinn, but this scene is jaw-droppingly gorgeous and such a great amalgamation of Harley and her psyche. I saw a great video comparing this scene to her like only solo fight in the Suicide Squad. I mean, this is the Suicide Squad in Suicide Squad Senior, and I'll link it below because it really made me see this scene in a new light. That I was like, oh my god, that's so interesting. Oh my god, look at the script. Can you tell I like Harley Quinn? Jesus Christ. Anyway, other fantastic things about the Suicide Squad. The dialogue feels unbelievably natural and real, which really helped my immersion. And when done in the opposite direction, really breaks immersion. The plot is rad. Ratcatcher 2. King Shark. The found family aspect of this movie is done in such an actually believable way. And by the end, I genuinely feel connected to these characters. I kind of exercised all my brain muscles writing the Harley Quinn part, but it's a really fun and really funny comic book movie, which I am comfortable saying is one of my favorite movies ever, and is in competition with Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn as my favorite DCEU movies. Let's keep going. Yeah. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Carmen Sandiego 2019 is an underrated classic, perfect reboot, an absolutely amazing cartoon. And it pisses me off how little it's talked about. I don't even know where to start with this show. The art style is one of the most unique and artful styles I've ever seen in a cartoon. It's so slick and simple. The backgrounds and the animation and the soundtrack perfectly work together to create this dark underworld of thieves. All the characters are fantastic, especially Carmen Shadowson and Julia. This show is even like the original in that it does the geographical education segment. The show is so well written. Its episodic trips around the globe with colorful and unique villains, at times devastating stakes and drama, beautifully choreographed fight scenes, 3 different intersecting and opposing forces, as well as a few mysteries from a few different perspectives, weaving it all together. The show ended really early this year, so I get to talk about it. I legit don't want to say anything else about the show in fear of spoiling it, but please check out Carmen Sandiego on Netflix. You will not regret it, I promise. Q-Force is a 2021 adult animated comedy action series on Netflix. The first trailer went kind of viral for a lack of a better word, being bad. There's a great breakdown of this trailer by Frederic Chen, which I will link below. I had no interest in this show until Frederic Chen. I don't think I have to. I feel weird calling him by his first name because I don't know him, but I also feel weird saying his full name for some reason. It feels weird. But when he made his summary of the first season, which I will also link below, the way he described it, as well as the clips from the show that were in the video, made the show seem really charming and funny. And it is! I don't think Q-Force says anything that deep about society or anything like that. And the plot is really meh. But the pull of the show is truly the main characters. They're all so unique and uniquely charming and funny. They all have great dynamics together, and without Q forcing it. They all have great dynamics together, and without Q forcing it, they really do the found family thing well. All the different ways each member of Q-Force interacts with our main character really helps to highlight the things I just said. Like I said, the show isn't really that deep, mainly because it's mainly a comedy, but there are some really great emotional scenes like this one with forgot her name.
Anyway, I don't want to keep you. I know you got so much going on.
No, I've always got time for you. You know, this chapter of your life out in the fields, saving the world with your squad, this is the best it's ever gonna get.
You're gonna miss it when it's over.
Do you miss it?
I do.
I do have a lot more criticism of it than most of the other shows and movies on this list. Like, a lot of the time, it's just straight up not funny. And Benji is such a nothing character, so literally all the drama with him has no effect on anything because you feel absolutely no connection to him. But the fun I had with it just like completely overshadows all the valid critiques of the show. The show is just a really fun time. Charming main characters. If you like gay shit, I recommend it.